Hello and welcome to teacherswebhost.com. Today's tutorial is how to use the charts for progress monitoring built into the site. If you log into your account and click on the Progress tab, you'll see two different columns of controls. On the left is the reporting system, which is a way of creating sort of like simple mail merge documents. And this will be described in a different tutorial. We're working today here on the right with individual progress monitoring. There are three kinds of charts you can create in the charts for regular progress: a bar graph, a line graph, and a two-line graph. There are two different kinds of running records charts you can generate here. One that uses the Fountas and Pinnell assignment of text difficulty. The other one is using the Lexile. Let's begin here with starting a new chart. When you create a new chart, you first decide what type of chart it will be, and note that this cannot be changed later. Give a title to the chart. Each chart is always assigned to a single student, so keeping the student's name in the title is probably useful. You can put a description of the progress monitoring assessment that's being used. You may refer to some sort of a rubric and so forth. The x-axis label is usually an assessment, and the y is usually the scores. You choose the student whose progress will be monitored, and you click Create Chart. Now you're ready. You see here I have George Washington in several places because he has a couple different areas of progress that are being monitored. Let's click on the one that I just did and go under Command to Edit Chart. Here is where you still have the ability to edit everything about it. And down here is where you add data points to the graph. Let's give George a pretest. And let's give him a 36, which is a pretty good score on a pretest. And here he is. You'll notice there's no lines being graphed here because there's only one data point. So let's add some more so you can see what it looks like. Let's have him pass interim 1, shall we? And now it begins to take the shape of a normal graph. In the event that you accidentally enter the data in the wrong order, you see here you can drag and drop to change the order. It's also possible to delete these values completely. Just anything you do, make sure you click on Save Changes. You notice you can also set a different y-axis maximum. The default is 100 because that is the most common scale used in grading schemes. Let's go back to progress. And let's take a look at making a two-line graph. A two-line graph requires a little bit different kind of work. And I'll show you that. I'm going to just do a two-line graph for Alexander Hamilton. I'll do this rather quickly here, pardon me. Great, here we go. Create chart. You'll see here the name of the chart. Giving these good titles is very important, although the student's name will always appear. If you are, for example, a special ed teacher and you're having to monitor several different goals, you'll need to give good titles to these so you know which goal you're editing. Let's edit this two-line sample. So here is the rule to follow for the software for the two-line charts. Okay? When you add a new label, there are two numbers separated by a semicolon that will go in the score box. And the software won't work if you don't do this. The first value is the norm or the class average or whatever standard the student's score is being compared to. Okay, in this case it's a pretest and the average student gets around a 36 on that. Semicolon, semicolon. What did this student get on the test? Well, let's say he did a little better. Click on Save Changes and you can see, just like the other, don't really have a chart yet because I don't have enough data points. But as usual, you have the ability to edit the data points as well as to change their order or delete them. To make this a more meaningful looking chart, let's add some more data points, shall we? Semicolon. And you see now we have the beginnings of a chart that's making some sense. you'll see that it's easy to compare the two different sets of scores. And we can go to progress to now take a look at bar graphs. Bar graphs operate the same way. The controls are the same. You can change the order, as you can see. If you were to make an error, oh, I made an error, it's very easy to fix. And that is how to use charts for progress monitoring. You should be so kind as to take a look at some of the other tutorials that show you how to incorporate these charts in these parent letters. And there are other tutorials on how to handle the reading progress charts for running records. Thank you for visiting teacherswebhost.com.